Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido, Loca. It's time for cruise news. I've got a story for you today about a man who was kicked off a cruise ship for losing his passport. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. If you're into cruising, cruise news, cruise ships, cruise tips, Lido Loca is the place for you. Consider hitting the subscribe button with the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any of our content. It is a story of a 70-year-old man, Chris Cook, who was kicked off of his cruise after he lost his passport in Rome. Now, Chris and his 63-year-old wife spent $12,500 on what they thought would be their dream cruise from Venice to Barcelona on the Regent Seven Seas Explorer back in April of 2019. This was a 12-day sailing in Europe, and wow, that's an expensive cruise, $12,500 on a luxury cruise liner, and everything was going well until they made port in Rome. Chris and his wife left the cruise ship to go explore Rome, to go explore the port as you do, and of course they took with them their passports. We get this question a lot: should you actually take your passport off of the cruise ship with you? Some countries that is a requirement. You have to present your passport to enter the country. You have to present your passport to leave the country. It's not a requirement in every port stop on a cruise. Sometimes you can just use your ship card to get on and off the ship. But certainly when cruising in Europe, you can expect to need your passport to get on and off the cruise ship. Now, the way the story goes, according to Chris and his wife, is that Chris's passport was in a bag and they were out eating in Rome and they had to use the restroom. They both had to use the restroom. And so they had this bag, they placed it under a table, and one person sat with the bag while the other one went to the restroom. After they both did their business, they came back, they checked for Chris's passport, and it was gone. They immediately notified local authorities about the lost passport, and then they took a cab back to the cruise ship. Once they arrived back to the cruise ship, they notify the crew there that Chris has lost his passport. It's his only form of ID, and it is this point that Chris is informed that he will not be able to continue on the sailing without the passport, that he will not be able to reboard the cruise ship because he no longer has his passport. The cruise line does secure a hotel for Chris and his wife and also gets them a taxi to that hotel. Of course, the expenses for the hotel and the taxi, those belong to Chris Cook. He has to pay those. And he spends the next few days in Rome trying to get emergency identification so that he can travel back home. All in all, the hotel and the expense cost him an extra $1,250. The couple did have travel insurance, which offset some of that. But their main concern, their main beef is they don't feel like they were treated fairly by Regent. In a Newsweek article, one of the quotes from the couple is they felt like they were treated like pieces of meat. Now, from a cruise line's perspective, look, the rules are the rules. The immigration rules are significant in European countries. And the way that it works is there is an immigration officer with the vessel that is a government official for the country that you visit. And ultimately, it is their call. And the rules are you have to have a passport to enter and leave the country. You have to have a passport to disembark and embark back onto a cruise ship. And since the passport was gone, there was no exception to be made. Look, I know it sounds kind of harsh, but the reason I share this story is as a cruiser, as a traveler, your travel documentation is your most important piece of identification, and it is the thing that will keep you cruising or keep you from cruising. The cruise line will not or cannot make these accommodations because of the stringent immigration rules at the various countries that you visit. So you have to keep a hold of your travel documentation. Ports where you don't need your passport, many people like to make a photocopy of their passport and leave their passport in the safe on the cruise ship. But at ports where passports are required, you have to come up with a strategy how not to lose your passport. There are a lot of good options. There's passport holders that go around your neck. You could possibly, if you're going to a warm climate, wear shorts that have a zippered pocket. You've got to be able to hold on to your passport. or you run the risk of not being able to get back on the cruise ship, or you run the risk of being stuck in a foreign country, struggling to figure out how you're going to get home. Obviously, this is a horrible situation for Chris Cook and his wife. So much money spent on that dream vacation only to be cut short over a passport identification issue. Hopefully their struggle will be something that we can all learn from. I did make a playlist of these videos about getting kicked off of a cruise ship. If you want to go check that out, I will leave a link above and in the description below. That list is getting bigger and bigger, and I will continue to make these videos to let you know different ways that you can get kicked off of a cruise ship so that you are informed and educated before you go cruising. That's the news story. I would love to hear from you. Have you ever lost your documentation while you were traveling? What did you have to do? Leave your story in the comments below. Let's continue the conversation. Thanks for stopping by. There should be some more cruise videos popping up. Make sure you check that out. And come join us on Facebook at the Lido Loca Cruising Community. Again, this is Tony from Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.